when you guys are ready. All right. On Monday, December 9th, in the early morning hours, Scott Brooks was shot and killed just before 5 a.m. as he was preparing to open his sandwich shop on North Brevard Street. Brooks and his family have been members and stalwarts of our community for decades. Despite all of the hard work by the CMPD and our partners, Brooks's killer or killers remain at large. Lieutenant Crum with our Violent Crime Division is here this morning to discuss some developments that he would like to share. At this time, I will turn it over to Lieutenant Crum. Lieutenant.
Thank you, Captain. Detectives have been working around the clock and putting a lot of time into this investigation as we do other investigations. There's a lot of great work that's gone into this case. However, we're again coming to the community asking for help. The amazing work by our people is directly responsible for the outstanding results we've had in this previous year with a clearance rate approaching 80%. But again, that doesn't happen in a vacuum. It's not just the work the detectives do. It's assistance that we get from our community members and other partners in law enforcement. So today with Scott's family here, as well as representatives from the FBI Charlotte Field Office, we would like to announce an increase in the reward in this case. The FBI contacted us and offered an additional $10,000 in reward money for information leading to an arrest in Scott's murder. In addition to that $10,000, we've had some private contributors submit an extra $6,000 in reward money as well. That brings the total for information in this case to $21,000. That is information leading to an arrest in Scott's case. This information can be given anonymously. We ask that people call Crime Stoppers at 704-334-1600. We don't need your name. We don't need to know where you live. You don't have to testify in court. You simply need to give us the information identifying the people involved in this case, and we'll take it from there. I can tell you this year we've made more than 100 arrests as an agency based on information that's given to us through Crime Stoppers. Some of these cases include murder, rape, and robbery. So our community has been critical in us solving some of these cases. Today, you should have in your inbox a short clip of video of one of the suspects involved in this case. There is also several still images that depict a second suspect. It's critical that anybody in the community that recognizes these people contact us. They can call us 24 hours a day, again, to that Crime Stoppers number, and give us your information. The Brooks family really needs your help. The Brooks family has been a part of the community for years, and I've heard time and time again about the assistance that they've helped. When somebody needs something in the community, they've been there for them. We need the community to be there for the Brooks family today and step forward and give us this information so that we can find justice for Scott. Does anybody have any questions?
Where are we? You have the video. Can you say anything beyond that, Brian? We're all hoping to have some positive development.
Well, we have a lot of leads we're following up on. We have gotten tips, but we don't have, obviously don't have that tip, the tip that's led us to an arrest. So we're following up on not only previous tips that we've gotten from the community, information that we are able to cultivate from different tools that we use. The FBI is assisting us with some of that, as well as some forensic techniques to try to bring closure to this case.
In addition to the video evidence, are there geographical clues that could help? Like, I know you've got a light rail station there, maybe the videos were taken in different areas, whether it was across the street or from the business or from the light rail, which direction travel might help people think, put something together.
Sure. I can tell you they ran away from the light rail station, so back towards Davidson Street. And we have some video surveillance. Like I said, I think we talked about before, we've canvassed the video doorbells and some other assets that we have in the area. So we do a video. We know they ran away from the light rail station. But beyond that, we're still looking for more information.
Do you believe there's two suspects, Lieutenant Crum?
There are two suspects. And you'll see from the video, they're covered head to toe. We believe that this was a planned robbery. They certainly had some knowledge, so that may help somebody in the community to know that somebody who had been in the area or was potentially planning to do this, that information may be helpful to us.
What role do you believe the man in the video played? Do you believe he was the shooter? What role, any idea what he played and the other man played?
They're both participants in the robbery, full participants in the robbery.
Do you have a list of, have you expanded your list of persons of interest or suspects, or where are you at in that process? We have a list of suspects. I mean, we don't have a list of suspects per se, but we certainly are looking at anybody who could potentially have been in the area that could be a suspect. I mean, we follow the evidence where it leads, so it's not really that we start with a list of suspects and pare it down from there, so we just follow the evidence as we go along.
Brian, I see family members here. Does anyone, it's up to y'all. We haven't heard from,
Well,
the community is really.
It's been the support from the community and the police department has just been overwhelming. And I do want to say that the support that we receive gets us through grief every day. It's not easy. It's not easy. He was my twin brother. And I just hope that this little bit of evidence and what we're doing today is going to help find and convict someone. Can't bring him back, but maybe bring a little bit of justice to not only us, but the community too. And I just appreciate the media, and I appreciate everything that the police have done and are going to continue to do. Thank you so much.
So just as a recap, the FBI has increased the reward amount by $10,000, and along with those additional contributions, that's a total of $21,000 cash for information leading to an arrest in this case. That information can be given anonymously. We don't need your name. We just need your information. So we're asking anybody that may have any information, no matter how small they think it may be, to call Crime Stoppers at 704-334-1600.
I don't want to limit anyone who has that information. They can also call 911. They can also call and speak with a homicide detective directly at 704-432-TIPS. Again, $21,000, and we could not have done that without the assistance of our local FBI office. So we really appreciate them coming, as well as the Brooks family for coming out here this morning to show the support. We really need the community's assistance, so any help that you can provide, please call us. Our second topic this morning, many of you were at the City Council meeting this past Monday where Deputy Chief Gerald Smith spoke. And today, the data that has been pulled and that we provided that at that briefing, we have Rebecca Hefner with the city. She's the manager for the city's data and analytics, and she has worked closely with our department, our crime analysis unit, as well as other units and partners to discuss some of that research, as well as Deputy Chief Smith is here to discuss some of the focus areas, the 4 focus areas, and how those were identified as a public health issue, and it requires more than a holistic approach. So at this time, I will turn it over to Ms. Hefner. Again, that's Hefner, and she will give you some background and data on how we located and identified those areas. Ms. Hefner.
Thanks. We have been working closely with the police department and our partners across the city and in other agencies over the past couple of months to take a look at crime data, particularly violent crime and homicides, and to dig a little deeper under the summary statistics to understand more of what's happening, what are some of the root causes and underlying issues that drive violent crime in our community. As part of that, we looked at victims and perpetrators and also different geographies and identified a pattern of for violent crime over the past many years, that we have some durable areas of concentrated violent crime in our community. And so taking a look at that geography and the issues underlying violent crime, we were able to reframe at the city council meeting on Monday, violence as a public health issue, consistent with the way that our partners in the county have been looking at violence and really driving forward some partnership. So I'm happy to answer questions about the data that were presented, and Chief Smith can talk a little bit more about those different geographies. This is really just the start of a conversation. There's much more to learn by continuing to look at the data, and it will be going to the city's Safe Communities Committee to determine what are some next steps and what are some of the things that we can do as a community to more holistically address violence.
Questions from Ms. Hefner or Chief Smith?
Yes. I'm sorry, Ms. Hefner, out there in some of those communities over the last couple of days, this didn't come as a surprise to many people living there. I mean, these are sort of the same areas that looking at in general for years, right? I mean, were you at all surprised by what the data showed?
I don't think, I think she may have been, but here at CMPD, we were not. And we knew where these areas were. They're not communities, they're not neighborhoods, they're areas, and we knew what was going on in there. We were doing quite a bit of work in those areas. I think what was, and what is new is this, I can term it as a deeper dive. We report out at the police department on numbers and going up, going down, trends, what's happening here, what's happening there. But with Rebecca's help, what we have done is actually started to take and go a little deeper. What are some of the other factors that we can address? And when I say we as a community, not we as a police department, that can affect and help turn the tide on violent crime, not only countywide in our jurisdiction, but in these areas here. I think that is what is going to be the surprise. Some of the things we'll know, but some of the other things that we're looking at through there is just something that we need to look at, because as a police department, we're doing a lot of work, but it's just not enough.
So
Go ahead.
So what do we do next? You got the information, the data, and again, you say that you sort of know these places have been trouble spots. So you're having meetings, I suspect, what happens now?
More looking at the data. Right now, I think the next step is taking on the hard questions. We made this presentation, and our PIO's office and a lot have been receiving a lot of questions about that, and which is great, because now we can double check our thinking along with these questions. But we also turn it over to the community as a whole to start coming up with a comprehensive plan of who can address poverty, who can address employment in these areas, who can address the recidivism of, not necessarily recidivism, but the repeat calls of disturbance in these areas, and a lot of the other factors that go along with the crime as well. So this work ramps up now. That's the next thing. And I would say that to the community and also to the media, please keep coming with the questions, because the questions help us to double check what we're doing and what we're thinking.
Is there any way to look at this data as a forecast or predictor of gentrification and migration in certain areas of town that have previously been bad, where that crime might go once those areas have been?
I don't think gentrification was on the map necessarily what we were looking at, but there was some literature review that in some other areas that talked about the effects of gentrification on crime. But I don't believe that we looked at that specifically for our community. We may have looked at other communities, but we are focusing here on ours. I don't want to, but Rebecca is the expert with that.
So I can just add a little bit to that. The idea with looking at violence as a public health issue is in part that we would be addressing it in multiple different ways. And so there's much more focus on partnerships that work with individuals and families in it at the same time that we have a focus with law enforcement and a focus with other city programs like housing and employment. And so the idea is that by addressing those root causes, that we're not displacing crime, but we're actually reducing violence.
So, well, that was going to be my question, is everybody keeps saying public health issue, but I'm hearing a lot of different definitions for what that looks like. do you guys have any sense of what that means for CMPD, what that means for the city of Charlotte?
Can you take the CMPD part?
As a public health perspective, CMPD and policing, when we look at crime, we look at basically the crime triangle, location of the crime, the offender and the victim, and that's it. Public health, as a public health issue, we start looking at a great deal more variables that come into play that affect that crime triangle that we focus on day to day to day to day. So for us, the public health will have a local feel to it. What are the factors here in Charlotte, not as compared to other cities or other locations that are affecting crime, but here in Charlotte, there are these things that we are looking at, some of those factors and variables that Rebecca has already mentioned. So that's what we're looking at. I don't know if there's a universal definition that fits, because this will be local. This will be Charlotte-Mecklenburg's public health issue and not someone else's.
Yeah, I was going to ask, because the CDC actually does have a definition for a public health approach to violence, and I didn't know if that was kind of a springboard for this, or if Rebecca, you want to jump in? I don't know.
Yeah.
Definitely. So we're borrowing language and we're borrowing framing, not just from the CDC, but from Mecklenburg County's Public Health Department. So we've been partnering with Dr. Harris and her team at the Public Health Department to help us really understand what is a public health approach to violence. And so there are a couple of components to that. One is that you look at violence in this framing of multi-level risk factors. So that violence occurs because of exposure to violence or experience of violence at many different stages in life and across many different parts of our community. That's one piece of it. Another piece of it is the use of data and evidence, both to identify what's happening, who is involved and where, so that's part of the work that we've been doing, but then also to rigorously monitor and test and evaluate what's working so that that can be shifted. So that scientific method piece is a really big part of the public health approach. And then the other pieces are this more holistic look at what are potential intervention strategies for violence reduction and prevention, and then real true partnership with people who are impacted by violence. And so that we saw that in the research that we did about evidence-based programs, as well as other communities and how they're addressing violence, that community voice and community agency, so real ownership by people in the community over strategies, is critical for success. And so all of that wraps together into what we're terming and framing as a public health approach to violence.
Okay, and then one more, sorry. But I know that there are several specific programs out there for violence reduction, like Cure Violence or Cities United. Is there any thought on whether Charlotte would get in on those, or are you talking to people at those organizations?
So as part of the research that we've done, we took a broad look at evidence-based programs across the country. We mapped out what the different categories around youth prevention and justice-involved interventions, and then these health models. So you're referring to what's called a violence interruption program, and we took a look and identified what's here. Not just what is the city of Charlotte doing, but what's existing in our community. And we did find that that's a potential gap. And so one of the recommendations that came out of this work was to work with our partners to explore implementation of a violence interruption model here in Charlotte.
Okay, any time frame on that? Of when? No, okay. Thanks.
Anybody else? Any other questions? All right. Thank you. Thank you very much, Chief. Thank you, Ms. Hackett.
Thank you, Ms. Hefner. I feel like there should be a test now, like I was back in college there. So those that are interested in the PowerPoint presentation that they shared with City Council on Monday night, you can either find that on the city's website, or you can also email our PIO office, and we will send you that PowerPoint deck. Just a reminder that the video and still images from the Brooks case have been emailed to your assignment desks, so any help that you can get with sharing that would certainly be fantastic. And finally, on this Friday at 10:30 here, our Chief Putney is going to be having his year-end community public safety, accountability, and trust presentation. Hopefully, with weather permitting, we will be on the top of the parking deck, so make sure you have coats. It is supposed to be in the 50s to 60s, so hopefully we will have great weather. And if there is inclement weather, we will have it next door in the command center. Again, that's 10:30 this Friday, here in 2 days. Any other questions?
Yes. It took a week, but sadly, we had our first homicide this morning. Can you tell us anything about that case? Any circumstances? I don't know if Brian's still here or not.
You know, he is not here. He's with the Brooks family. We're still working through that. We should have the victim identified in the very near future, and we will be able to share that with you at this time. We have not identified a suspect, though, I believe, at this point. So, and we did have our first homicide.
Can you say if, do you know that 2 victims were shot by the same person? It's not a case of shooting each other or anything like that?
I cannot answer that at this point. I'd have to check, and I can get back to you on that, Mark.
Just curious.
Yep. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Great. Thank you all very much. See you on Friday. Have a great day.